Welcome too late to the show. I'm your host, Prophet74, and today we're gonna bring in Rockspace. This is a actual whole home mesh setup for Wi-Fi. So now that a lot of people are working from home, you got plenty of things using up your actual Wi-Fi. You're a little long distance away. Today we're gonna set up this Wi-Fi mesh and see how well it works. We're gonna test it out. We're gonna put it to use because say you have a couple walls away where your actual router sits and you want to expand your actual internet connection. This is a great way to do it, easy and fast and reliable. So if you're not familiar with a mesh, it's pretty much they overlap and grab each other's internet and provide each other's as a bridging. So the modem that that was purchased or that was given to you by your provider, it's not working. It just pretty much sits in one area and you got to sit around that area pretty much near it. It's like a campfire pretty much. The further you get, the colder it is. So you got to be right there where the fire. This is pretty much the same thing. One has to be set up on an Ethernet where the other ones automatically don't have to be set up by the Ethernet. Now they both have to be in a certain they have to be in a certain distance so they could work in a triangular area where they actually work together. So you could get the correct speeds on every single one, and you won't see a lot of drop speeds. The further you course, the further you put these away, the harder it is to get a good signal. So there's in the indicator in here that actually addresses that. So we're gonna take a look at it and go over step by step what you need to do. So this is a great items for those that are working from home, and that's what we're going to take a look and see how easy it is. It's not complicated to set up. Anybody can set it up, so we're going to do it step by step. And if you need more instruction, more help, they have great information on their website. And not only that, the manual is very thorough about this, how to set these up. So let's go ahead and take a look. We're going to do a speed test first from in here within the router. We're sitting right next to it and see how strong it is. And then we're going to do another speed test from within auto range and see how much we need to actually acquire and move these devices closer to it so we could get a better signal where I'm sitting at. So let's go ahead and do a strong the highest speed test here where I'm actually sitting here. So we're going to do a speed test here. And takes a couple of minutes, and it's not the fastest internet, but it does the job. So right now I'm indicating that speeds up to 219 by 20. I was at 21 or 20. It's not that bad. Speeds are just about there. And this is indicating where we're going to start from. All right. So we have our starting point. 219 by 22. All right. So that's our starting point. And I'm going to go right now and film myself somewhere far inside and do a little speed test in there and come back and see if you guys could compare it. And we're going to do that right now. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so we're gonna do one test the furthest way where I'm gonna sit on one of the boxes, and we're gonna do a speed test in here indoors from far away. And this is from the furthest spot, which is gonna be in the living room. So we're gonna do a test from here, and this is currently what I'm getting from the router right now. And this is through the walls and everything else. It's trying to even connect. Sometimes I even connect. If you can see, I only have like one bar there. And it's trying to get that connection, and I'm gonna have to at least move a little bit further up to connect. If you can see, I'm the furthest one, and this is how much I'm getting, 3 megs. I mean, it's awfully this is without the mesh, of course. This is working without the mesh set up, and this is something that I'm running and struggling because there's a couple of walls and a couple of connections. And this is the furthest connection that I'm gonna be testing now. And like I said, no mesh installed, no nothing. This is just a test. So you can see I got 5 megs, 5 up, 5 down. That's pretty much the max. All right, as you can see, the signal's a little poor in there because there's plenty of walls. And now I'm going to put a little map here so you can see I'm sitting in this angle, and it has to stretch out all the way where I was doing the test. And it's a little further off, and I don't get that many bars where I am. So I actually need this device to help me mesh my whole Wi-Fi, and everybody could be satisfied, especially now that everybody's working from home. You have 2 kids working in the living room, 1 in the garage. You want to make sure you have that cover, especially if you want more education to be transmitted through your Zoom calls, your Teams, and other stuff, and gaming. Netflix, all that stuff's taking all this Wi-Fi and slowing people down. So we're gonna see if we can balance all that, because you can control all that through here too. So let's go ahead and unbox it, see what you get when you purchase them like this. All right, so here we go. We're gonna open the first one. If you can see it, this is kind of like a cloth material on the top. They give you their support line, a user manual. That's very important because we're going to go into details of what you need to do. They give you 3 power cords. Of course, these are a tether end, so you got to make sure that you plug them in, and you got to make sure there's power around the area where you're going to set these up. If you can see, they're very elegant and very simple to ease for the eyes. If you're going to place it somewhere near a lamp, it doesn't look like a device. It pretty much looks like it belongs there, especially with the mesh that they have up here and all set up, and rock space. Very elegant. You are going to need a couple things in here. And if you can see on the bottom, it gives you the actual username and the password to line this up. Also, they give you a barcode in here that you scan it in there, and you're able to actually automatically set up into your network. And like I said, you could put up to 36 of these, and in the future, you're going to be able to mesh these up even more. But right now, if you can see in the back, they give you wall mounts and actually some rubber mounts that you could just easily place on any kind of surface. All right, so this is how they look like. Very, very elegant. They look like more like the Amazon boxes, you know, that they have. And you can't even really tell the difference. This is it looks like a speaker from the top, but we're gonna turn it on and set it up. So let's go ahead and take them all out. And they give you 1 Ethernet cable, the thin version, okay, of course, but we're not gonna use this. We have our own. All right, we're gonna go ahead and continue right now with the setup, and I'm gonna bring my iPad because this is you could download the application for your phone or from an iPad or from a Droid. Pretty much we're gonna use the iPad so you guys can see it more clearly what I'm doing. On the manual itself, there's a serial number here. There's a serial code that you could just, you know, take a picture of it and it'll take you directly to the application for Droid and also for the ISO. All right, so either one, it works for iPhone or Droid. I'm gonna get it from my iPad, and then I'm also gonna get it from the Droid. So it's called RS Wi-Fi. Pretty much install it. I'm gonna click it here twice. And it's free, no charges on this, so I'm automatically downloading on both systems right now. We're gonna do it from an actual iPad so you guys can see a little bit more information. So let's go ahead and put these on the side. So we're gonna plug one in here. We plug it in, plug one in, and then you plug in the blue little section. All right, make sure it's plugged in there. Plug them both in. We plugged both in already, so if you can see it. Make sure you have your username and your password so you can see it when you log into it. You need to do it by wireless. You're gonna need to wireless connect into this and then start the application. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll put this down. Make sure that it's blinking. If you can see it blinking right now, and we're gonna go ahead and log in first. So we're gonna look for it under the Wi-Fi. We're gonna go into the settings in here, and then we're gonna look for the Wi-Fi. On the Wi-Fi, you're gonna see the rock space, and that's the same name we saw in the bottom of the case. If you guys can see it. So let me flip this over. You'll see that same name that pops out right here. It's indicating here, but you have to punch in the password that it gives you. So once you logged in, the password is located on the bottom, right below it. Put this on the side. We're gonna join it, and we're gonna remote into the setup already. So we're actually logging into it. So we're logging in now. Let's see if it goes, and it automatically gives me a check that it's logged in. So we're remotely into the system. So we go into the software, and here's the software. I'm going to get the software, and it's going to go ahead and open up. We're going to add a device. Searching. It's searching the device. It automatically found it. So right here, we have the option to change the name. And whatever name you change it, it's going to show up in all your mesh. All right. So make sure you set up a name properly to go with your whole setup. And then you set up the password. The same password is going to go through all the systems. So the router password that you currently have right now is going to spread it out. So to make sure that you know all that information prior to starting to here. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go the setup, control now. So it's going now, if you guys see it. It's asking you the internet connection is dynamic. So we're going to hit next. If you're not familiar with this, it's very simple. It just takes you step by step. If you want to get more complicated and more technical, you're going to have to read more of the manual and find out more of the system settings. All right, in this section, I'm not going to show you my username and password because that's pretty much what I'm going to use. It's saying if it's okay with you, just go ahead and continue, hit OK. And the next process, go ahead and start. Now it's set up with the actual username and password of the domain. And we're going to set it up, and the same password is going to be the same password for every single device that we have here. So we're going to go ahead and add the 2 other ones that we have. As you can see, I gave it late to the show house. It's asking for the username and password. We're not going to do that now. So right now, currently, right now, we're connected to late to the. That's the actual one I created, late to the show house, and that's how I'm gonna call it. I do have the late to the show. That's the name of the router, the main router. But we're gonna go ahead and connect to late to the show house. But first, we're gonna set up the other ones too. So if you're moving location and you have a whole new service and you want to start the process over, the best way to do it is actually turn it around, and then you can see it fine little print right here. It says reset. So you grab something sharp and you hold down the button. We're gonna go ahead and set it up on our phone, all right? And I just did a reset on it. So if you can see it, it did find it here. So we're gonna connect it into the rock space, if you see it, and I'm gonna put the password. So we're gonna go ahead and connect it. And this is for the Droid now. I'm doing the Droid instead of the iPad, and it's connected directly to it. Open the application. Now we're gonna set it up, all right? And we're gonna call it, hit next. And then here you have to put your information, your Wi-Fi information, your name, like I said, a name. So we're gonna call it late to the show house. And we have it. Here we have it. We're gonna see the test now. We'll compare it. Now we're right here and see how strong the system goes. And of course, this thing could go up to 1200 megabytes per second, all right? So we're gonna do another test. And last one, it was 219 by 23 by 22. So we're gonna do another speed test. So we're gonna try to get to the 219, and we're standing right in front of it. So we should be okay. This is extremely too well. It's going over. I have around 400, but when I'm on a Wi-Fi router, this is the actual router that's connected to directly to it. If you can see, it's going at 400, all right? And the maximum speed I have at home is around 400, and I'm real next to the router, and I wasn't getting the 400, and now I'm getting 400 by 20. So it tells you how strong this thing is. It's extremely strong. Like I said, I had a 400 megabytes per second by 20, and the router that I'm sitting right next to it could not get to that system. It was getting 200. Okay, to add another one, all you got to do is plug in the power. All right, that's it. You got to power it up. So this is the main one. This is the secondary one. You go back to the application. You wait for the solid light. It's gonna blink. As soon as it stops blinking, that's when you actually start programming. So let's go ahead and go to the same program. So it found the secondary one automatically, if you can see it. And we're gonna go into connect only one device. We're gonna see if we can see the secondary. And it's actually for all this information. It says it's offline right now. And we're gonna go ahead and say continue to this. So right now, LED light is still blinking and it hasn't found it yet. And right here is where you have to give it a name where exactly you're going to have it. So if you put it in a bedroom, you add it into a bedroom. But right now we're going to do bedroom for now. We're going to do one bedroom, save it. And that's going to be, this is going to be the bedroom one. Okay, primary, we're going to set up the secondary here. It's excellent condition right now. It's going to see if we could add this one into it. More. It picked up a secondary one. If you can see it, it picked up automatically. It welcomed into my network. Excellent condition. And here's where we set up the primary is this one right here. And the way you can see, if you, when you flip it over, it tells you the serial number, so you can match it which is the primary. So we know this is the primary. We're going to flip it over, and then we're going to flip the other one over just to confirm that it is the secondary. If you can see the secondary, 739. Just look at the bottom last digits of that one. It says 739. It's part of my mesh already, automatically picked up because it's in the same environment. So we're going to go ahead and continue and add the third one in here. All right, we're going to plug in the third device. Third device is very simple. Just plug it in on the bottom. Plug in the third device. And we're going to let it blink a couple of times too. And we're going to all set them up here. And then you start spreading them out. And the further you get them out there, the better speeds you're going to get. You know, while the further you get them out there, the light's going to indicate. And if you get the manual, and the manual tells you the distance lighting. So, okay, on the manual, if you can see, green is good connection. Yellow is fair. Red is disconnected. So you want to be within the green and the yellow. That's one thing you want to do. Make sure that you connect. All right. Now, right now we're connected, and it automatically picked up the third one. If you can see it. So we're gonna name this one living room, and we're gonna go back in there. Now that we did the test, we're gonna do another test on this one, and just to make sure that we're getting the proper speeds. So I showed you 400 by 20. That's the proper speed we're getting in here. And I was running next to my router that was doing so. Let's go ahead and take them inside and do some more testing. All right, so we're gonna do our internet test, and this is the way it works basically. Yellow's the furthest I have the actual mesh setting up, and the bedroom is actually next a couple meters away from a couple yards away from the actual setup. All right, so right now I'm currently in bedroom, and we're gonna do a test on it. So we're gonna go and test, and I'm set up on close to in the bedroom and see how fast it is. So let's see how much speed we can get. And if you can see from 400, we're getting down to we're getting around 332, and it's going to hit around 20, the mark. But now this is the better one. It's only a couple of walls away. And the next test is the furthest one we're going to do. It's indicating yellow and green, so I'm pretty not sure that we're not going to get the same speeds. But let's go ahead and continue the next test. We're going to do a test on this one. This one goes from yellow to green by just some movement. So this is the furthest one I have, and I'm going to put it on the map so you guys can see how far it is. Right now it just turned yellow. You see that? It's automatically changing for green. This is the furthest one I have in my setup. So we're going to do a test from here. So almost close to 100 on this one. And we're not close to it. I'm telling you, there's like 4 or 5 walls between all these, but the connection is really good. So now we're going to go into the details in here. And as you can see, we can see some of the details if we want to, but there's more settings in here. If you want to create a guest account, a guest network, you can set it up temporary, and you can name it however you want and set up a password of your own. Call it whatever you want, and it will dissolve it within 8 hours. All right, just to give you guys a heads up, it's a great feature for, say you're having a party and you don't want your people to go on your primary internet. You could have them set up to the party or any kind of event that you're having temporary for 8 hours, which is not bad. Now from here, there's parental controls, of course, that you can set up. You could add groups. You could go into details. Wireless settings. Here's a wireless password that you can change. Internet settings. These are if you want to make it a fix or a static IP, you can change it to that. QoS. This is for boosting up your gaming. This is something that's going to get more of it, but I'm not setting up any of that yet. Fast roaming is available already. Smart assistants. You got a bunch of features that you could go in there and set up your DNS and other stuff. Firmware upgrade. This is important that you want to do that because that's something that you want to detect the latest firmware. You want to make sure that all your devices are up to date, so you can get the maximum of speed, all of them. If you can see it, they're all up to date. So just by clicking this, and this is all through a phone that I'm doing. Maintenance schedule, you can set up maintenance schedules to go ahead and reboot the systems and, recycle, because after 250 connections on the system, you're going to want to reboot, make sure that it brings in a fresh new log. Account authorization. Here you could add different admins into the system so they could control it. Besides, if you want your wife to have access to it so she could control some of the parental controls, you can set up here, or the speeds. Well, I hope this helps you out in setting up your own home mesh. And if you decide to buy this is a great option to buy. Easy to set up, easy to use. If you have any questions or any comments, let me know. I'm your host, Prophet74, and we're out.